So, welcome to biology's information session as part of the Everything Science 2020 science orientation. Um, I'll go over just a couple housekeeping rules really quickly. I see everybody's already doing it, but as you kind of come into the meeting, if you can kind of mute yourself and turn off your video, I'll be doing it in just a couple minutes. It just helps keep the bandwidth down and limit the amount of glitchiness that sort of takes place in this online world. Um, Also, if there's any questions, you can drop them in the chat box below, and we can pick those up at the very end. And with that, I'll pass it over to Miss Jody Burke, who's the um, my brain's drawing a blank, but Miss Jody Burke.
No worries. Uh, so I am the academic program advisor for the Department of Biology. So my role is to help advise students what courses to take as part of their major. So I have a very short presentation just to give you a little bit of an idea about what the Department of Biology is about, who we are, and the courses and programs that we offer. So because you're not going to have the advantage of actually being on campus and meeting everyone who is in the department, I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview as to who we are. There are 6 administrative staff in the department, like myself, as well as 10 technical staff, and they oversee all of the laboratories, preparing the media and the equipment. We have 13 laboratory instructors, a number of who will be assisting you in your first year courses. 3 sessional faculty who teach a number of courses for us, and then 25 research-based faculty members. Within the department, student-wise, we're actually quite large. We have over 330 undergrad students. The majority of those are majors, but we do have a number of minors, so students who are doing other degree programs, but have chosen to do biology as their minor, and then 30 honor students. We also have a very big graduate student population. Over 64 masters and 52 PhDs. And that is important because the majority of our graduate students will be acting as teaching assistants in the upcoming semester. So in addition to your lab instructors, you'll also have graduate level students acting as teaching assistants to avail of their expertise and ask questions too. This is a snapshot of all the different types of research that our faculty does. To talk about what each individual faculty member does would probably be several more presentations, but I did want to give you just an idea of what you could become involved in as a student researcher, or if you decided to pursue your honors research with us. So the programs that we offer are a major in biology, an honors in biology, and a cooperative in biology. So within each of those 3 programs, we have optional concentrations. These are designed to help students focus their studies on a particular set of courses that will help generate the right knowledge base and skill set for whatever your post-degree plans might be. So for example, the concentration for biology for health professions, we focused courses that would help prepare students for studying for the MCAT or for entry into any postgraduate medical field, be it something like optometry or occupational therapy or medical research. So some of the courses that are offered specifically for students in that concentration are endocrinology, histology, anatomy and physiology, things of that nature. Again, these concentrations are optional, and you can choose to declare just the biology major or the biology major with the concentration. We also work with other departments in the Faculty of Science to offer joint programs. We have a joint major and honors in marine biology. That's between the Department of Biology and Ocean Sciences, as well as biochemistry, earth sciences, psychology, and statistics. And this is great for students who have a very strong interest into different but related fields. It gives you a chance to merge those merge both interests into one field. So for example, if you ended up doing an honors in marine biology, your focus would be both on a number of core biology courses, but also a number of core ocean science courses. So what is a major? What is it composed of? So a Bachelor of Science is 40 courses in total. And generally speaking, 15 of those 40 courses are specific to your major, in this case, to biology. There are a number of other subsets of courses, general electives, chemistries, Englishes, but the main component is those 15 major specific courses. So all of our majors have to do the courses that you see on the right-hand side. Intro to Biology 1 and 2, Cell Biology, Genetics, Ecology, Evolution, and Animal Physiology. And there are a number of other 8 biology electives that you can do, and that's where the concentrations come in. You can choose 8 courses that you just have a general interest in, but if you want to focus those into a particular area, you could choose a concentration, and then all the courses would be related to that concentration. And honors is a little bit different from the major. Generally speaking, students are admitted to the major first, and then when they reach a certain point in their program, they can apply to the honors. It's still the same number of courses in total, which is 40, but we're taking away some of those general electives and getting students to complete more biology electives. So you can see here that in addition to the core biology courses, you're actually doing 14 biology electives, whereas in the major, you were only doing 8. And of course, the second part of that is you're doing biology 499A and B, and that is your honors project. Part A tends to focus more on the proposal and the initial research. Part B is the finishing of that research and then the oral defense of the project. The last type of program we offer is a cooperative program or a work term based program. And this is for, again, all biology majors. The academic side remains the same as what it would be for a biology major. The difference is that you are required to complete 3 paid work terms. Now, in a post-pandemic world, these work terms are with local or national or international employers, and you work with them, getting really important hands-on experience to see what the skill set that you've learned so far in biology, what that could be for you career-wise. Now, currently, a lot of our work term placements are being done remote, which is still an important skill set to learn because, as we all know, everything is online right now. But it's really great for students to experience it, whether it's virtually or in person, because it gives you a chance to see, well, what could my career as a biology student be like? Biology is a great program, but it's not one of those programs where there is a very defined endpoint of, if I study biology, I'm going to become this. You have a lot of options open to you, and the co-op helps you narrow down some of those options. Again, in a post-pandemic world, we are also very happy to be able to offer immersive field courses to all of our biology majors. And we offer them on the west coast of the island in a place called Norse Point. So the Bombay Marine Station allows us to offer 2-week biology courses, but because those 2 weeks are so immersive, they actually count as a full semester course. So we usually offer a minimum of 4, sometimes 5 courses in a spring semester. So students can actually complete 5 full biology electives in that time. Now, they are mostly marine focused, but they're really great examples of how to do field collection and field analysis. So even for students who might be more interested in marine biology, in cell biology, this is still a really good course to take because it gives you an idea of what it is like to be in the field, what it's like to, quote unquote, get your hands dirty. Of all the years that we've been offering these programs, which has been over, I think, 30 years now at the Bombay Station, it's always been very positive feedback because it's such a novel experience to be able to get outside the lab setting and learn, what it is to be a field biologist. We're also privileged to be able to offer field courses at our Harlow campus in the United Kingdom. And again, in a post-pandemic world, we hope to offer them again soon. These courses aren't so much field courses as we offer at Bombay, but we do take advantage of different institutions that aren't available to us here in Canada. So for example, for the vertebrate diversity and adaptation course, students are taken to a number of zoos and vertebrate specimen collections, and they get to see things that we simply don't have available to us here on the St. John's campus. The same applies to the field course in applied biology. You get to view and learn about agricultural experiments that have been ongoing in the UK for decades. And you get to see Charles Darwin's house, which is kind of interesting. I know that everyone has had a lot of questions about what remote labs are going to look like. So I have spoken with our first year lab instructors, and they've given me just a few brief points that I hope will help reassure some of you before we get into the first week of labs. So we all know that everything now is going to be completely remote for the fall semester. Because of this, all the information that you need for the lab will be shared within the D2L shell, so you do not need to purchase a lab manual. The lab instructors will supplement the text information they give you with regards to the lab with photos. They've all become quite adept at filming YouTube videos, so they will be featured heavily, as well as data tables and anything else that they feel will help you understand what the process is in the lab. Now, a big part of being a biologist is getting that hands-on experience with lab equipment and understanding how to use it. And unfortunately, there's no way to replicate that online, but our lab instructors have taken very detailed videos demonstrating different techniques with different equipment, like for example, a compound microscope, so that you'll get as much of that experience as possible through a remote setting. There will be questions on some of these techniques, so you can rest assured that the videos will be very detailed. There will be labs posted every Friday afternoon in the laboratory section of D2L module, and the due date for those labs does depend on the lab section that you've been assigned to. Finally, the textbook is Campbell Biology 3rd edition, Canadian edition. So generally speaking, this is what a first year in a biology program would look like. I always tell all of the students who are interested in biology, this is a template and it can be modified for each individual student. No two students go through the program at the same rate or at the same path. So for example, if you're only comfortable taking 4 courses in the fall semester, I can modify the schedule so you can take physics in your 2nd year and it won't add any time to your degree. Same thing, if you haven't completed high school chemistry, unfortunately you won't be able to go into chemistry 1050 right away. You'll have to take chemistry 1010, but again, I can work with you and we can modify that schedule so it works for you. This is just, in an ideal situation, this is what we would recommend. So entry to the major happens after you finish your first full year of study. What we're looking for is an average of 65% combined across biology 1001 and 1002. And then we're looking at an average of 60% across your English or CRW courses, your math, and the chemistry or physics. If you completed chemistry and physics, I'm going to look at the course that you have the better average in. So in calculating your admission average, I always work with the courses that are to your benefit. Second year looks a little bit like this, and the reason I wanted to sort of illustrate what a second year program could look like is that at the end of the second year is when most students will apply to honors if they are interested. So what we're looking for at a minimum for admission to the honors program is having completed the 4 core second year courses, so biology 2250, 2600, 2060, and 2900. And you have to have at least a 65% in each of those courses, or a combined average of 75. And the reason we make that exception is, let's just say you do great in every course, but you get below a 65 in cell, which is biology 2060. Depending on the marks that you have in the other 3 courses, your overall average might be above 75, and it may be enough for you to be admitted to the honors program. Again, we're always going to choose which option is to the benefit of you as a student. Once you're into the honors program, you have to maintain those grades. So every biology course you take after that, you have to get a 65% in it, or you have to maintain that overall average of 75. That's all for my formal part of the presentation. I did put my contact information up there. Unfortunately, I know you won't be coming to see my office, but my email is jodyb@mun.ca, and I will respond to your emails as soon as I can if you have any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. One quick question that I saw. Can you take a minor while doing a joint degree?
So it does depend on which joint degree you're doing. For the joint major and joint honors in marine biology, because it's shared between biology and ocean sciences, you can't do a minor in either of those. Um, the same thing applies for if you're doing biochem and cell. You can't do a biology or a biochem minor. The most popular minors that our students tend to do, regardless, well, outside of the joint program, would be psychology, biochem, chemistry, and ocean sciences.
We also had a question about the textbook. I assume for 1001, it says like, are the third and second versions of the book very different? Will I be okay using a second edition book if I already have one, or should I buy the new version?
I'm not an expert in the differences between both editions. I would encourage you to contact the instructor, and they will be able to tell you if there is a considerable enough difference. My recollection is there's not much of a difference, and a lot of instructors will post the pages in the current edition that they want you to read as well as the previous edition, but it's always best to check.
Yeah, I'll also say that that's like my experience in 1000 and 1001. That's also very similar to what I experienced, in that the figures and the diagrams in the edition that the professor wants you to use, those are the diagrams that they will be using, and you won't have access to those in your version of the book. But they, at least in my experience, post the label diagrams on the Brightspace shell or in their slides, but obviously take that up with your professor just to be absolutely sure. Um, what do labs look like since it's not physical?
I touched a little bit on that in one of the slides, but again, it, I know it's not ideal doing labs remotely, but our lab instructors have worked so hard over the course of the summer to create so much, to create excellent content, really. I'm following all their YouTube channels. I know everything that they've submitted, and they've gone above and beyond to make sure that they're creating as real of an experience, a real lab experience, as you can have remotely. You're not going to be disadvantaged by doing labs virtually. It just means that whenever we come back to campus, there may be a little bit of an adjustment period where you actually have to apply what you've learned from the videos on how to find the field of vision on a microscope to the actual microscope in front of you. But you're not going to be expected to be experts in laboratory equipment when we come back.
Do you have any tips regarding a joint degree in psychology and biochemistry? Um,
Uh, uh, Not my area of expertise.
yeah,
uh, but the behavioral neuroscience degree is actually, well, you can do it from a biology point of view as well with psychology, but I would recommend speaking to the academic advisors for both those units. So psychology, and I'm sure that each one of them are going to have their own follow-up sessions. Is that right, Carter?
uh, biochem will, psychology is not available.
Okay. In that case, I would recommend reaching out to the psychology advisor. The contact information is on their departmental website.
Can you do a joint honors alongside a co-op?
Yes, you can. I didn't get into it in the presentation because it's a bit of a tangly program. It's something that you definitely need to meet with me on a regular basis to make sure that you're on track. It does add some time onto the 4-year degree. So with an honors and a co-op, you're looking at conservatively one extra semester, more than likely 2 extra semesters. And depending on who you're working with and when you're taking your co-op placements, you may be able to secure a co-op placement in the lab you're working in. You just can't take either part of your honors, A or B, at the same time that you're doing a co-op placement. They have to be independent of each other. But we've had a number of students go through that program. The most common option seems to be for students doing a marine-focused biology honors, and then the co-op placement with it.
This is a good question. What exactly is the difference between biology honors and the normal biology major?
Okay. So course-wise, what we do is we remove some of those general electives that fill out your 40 course degree, and we replace them with biology electives. So instead of doing the normal 15 biology courses, you end up doing closer to 23. The other big change is that you're doing an honors thesis. So you're working one-on-one with a faculty member and their lab. You're doing independent research. You're creating a proposal with the with the faculty members' help. You're designing methods and materials. You're responsible for analyzing your own data. It's dipping your toe in the waters of what graduate school would be. So for anyone who is considering graduate school, I highly recommend honors, not only because it's required from a lot of graduate programs, especially if you want to work in science, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to be like, and better to have spent 8 months doing it than get into a 2.5 year program and realize, oh, this isn't for me. Or that it's fantastic and you love it. Either way, at least you know before you commit to that. In our department, a lot of students work with biology faculty, but we also have an agreement with the med school. So a number of students doing biology honors actually get to work over, whether it's in immunology or genetics, they get to work with a faculty member over in medicine as well. So that's a nice perk.
And I think you actually might have just answered the next question. How can we get doctor shadowing experience as undergrads or pre-meds?
And again, post-pandemic world, the med school is actually really great, again, with taking on honor students, but they also take on students during the summer as student research assistants. There's a program called SURA in the Faculty of Science, which is undergraduate research experience for science students, but medicine has their own version of that. So students can apply to work for the full summer with a faculty member in School of Medicine. And whether it's geared more towards research as opposed to shadowing, an MD, but it's still good experience. And some of those researchers actually have their PhD and their MD. So two birds, one stone.
There's also a question here. It's pretty long. I don't know if you can read that on your end.
Yeah. So in summary, there's a concern about taking online courses and then going to graduate school, not accepting the online labs. I would hope, and I don't know which particular graduate school that this particular student is referring to, but most graduate schools are making exceptions because of the pandemic. I think what they may be referring to is that they won't take a course, they won't take a program that is advertised as completely online. So for example, I'm just going to use Athabasca as an example. Great school, not calling them out for any other reason, just to use as an example. A lot of their programs are 100% online. They're distance education. There never will be an on-campus offering. Your transcripts for this upcoming academic year, if we remain remote for the winter semester, there's no way of looking at that and knowing that this lab was offered online. We don't advertise our courses as being online. They are on-campus courses. This is just something that we're doing because of an unprecedented emergency situation. So if you graduate from MUN with a Bachelor of Science, no graduate school should turn you away because you took online labs in your first year. If that particular student wants to get in touch with me, and we can talk about the specifics, just so I can hopefully reassure that whatever grad school you're applying to, especially if I'm familiar with that grad school, they're not going to hold that against you. This is a pandemic. This is affecting every single person in the world. I think I answered the full question.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can international students apply to the Faculty of Medicine for a SURA? Yes, they can. There's a course called Med 310AB. Right. So Med 310AB is a course that the med school offers. It is human anatomy and physiology, and because of an agreement with the med school, we're actually able to count those as biology electives. So for students who want to take them, especially if you're doing the health professions concentration, those are great courses to take. Again, they're going to be online for this year, so the experience is going to be a little bit different than you would normally have. But for anyone considering any medical field, I think those courses are wonderful to take because they deal explicitly with human anatomy and physiology. The majority of the anatomy courses that we offer in biology focus more on, you know, animals, mammals. Not We don't touch on human anatomy very much. And that's simply because we didn't have the expertise within the department. So med school was kind enough to reserve place for our students in their course, and we allow students to count it as a biology course, even though it's MED.
Are there any more questions?
If students want to apply to a SURA, do we have to be done second semester? I think that refers to at what point in your program do you need to be before you can apply. Most often, SURAs or NSERCs or the med version of SURA, they tend to go to students who are later on in their program because they have fewer opportunities left to apply. So I would say wait until at least your second year. There's no harm in applying, but it's unlikely that you would be considered until at least the second year of studies has been successfully completed. And is there a limited number of seats in Med 310 AB? Yes, there are, but there are reserves in place. So students with a specific major, including biology, behavior neuroscience, biochem, there's a set number of seats that are reserved in that course for students. So even if it shows, it just means that anyone outside those majors can't take those seats away from you until the reserves lift. And that usually is the second week of registration. There's usually, I believe, based on current enrollment, there's at least 15 seats in each section that are reserved for the different biology majors. And if you don't get a seat right away, it's best to reach out to me, and then I can interface with medicine and see, you know, based on their projected enrollment, can we fit you into the course?
Any more questions?
Can you take Med 310A or B in your second or third year? So the main prerequisite for Med 310A is biochemistry 2201. The way that the chemistries work sorry, I did not have enough coffee today. The way biochemistry works is that you have to have at least chemistry 2400 done successfully before you can register for it. So going back to we talked a little bit about second year, most biology students will take biochemistry 2201 in the second semester of their second year. Once you get that biochem done, then you can take Med 310AB. So you're looking at your third year, unless, you know, there are rare exceptions or students who come in with transfer credits and maybe you're able to take biochemistry earlier. But for the most part, you're looking at the start of your third year before you can take Med 310A. When in your degree can you take up field courses? Again, in a post-pandemic world, students will be able to start taking Bombay field courses at the end of their second year. Prereqs for most of those courses are ecology, which you would do in the fall semester of your first year, and statistics, which you would do in either the fall or the winter. Those courses are competitive because we have to adhere to the size of the residents on site at the field station. It's not unlimited enrollment. So for students who are interested in that, we usually send out an email to all majors asking them to express their interest. And that way we sort of do pre-registration. So we know if we're going to have enough beds essentially for students. But yeah, end of your second year, as long as you've done the courses that you were recommended to take, you can register for field courses. Are there any MUNSU research positions available? I think maybe that means MUSEP positions.
I think so.
Okay. We have a number of positions available. I don't have the details on them in front of me, and that's because each individual faculty member will apply directly for the MUSEP funding. But on average, I think we have at least, I want to say we have at least 15 positions in the faculty. And I'm not sure if it was mentioned in previous sessions. I think the deadline for MUSEP is the Friday of the first full week of classes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, perfect. When should you apply for co-op and honors? So students can apply to the honors program at the end of their at the end of their second year, once you've completed the core biology courses, so genetics, ecology, cell, and evolution. And like I mentioned in the presentation, we're looking for a specific average in those courses in order to be admissible. So for new students, honors isn't something you need to worry about until the end of your second year. For co-op, we encourage students to apply at the end of the first year. The application actually comes out a bit earlier this year, I believe, because of the current pandemic situation. I believe it'll be on our website probably in October. And what we're looking for is that you've completed at least, I'm going to backtrack. I'm getting my two programs confused. For co-op, we want you to have completed the first year understudy and then be registered for the required courses in the fall. So you apply in the fall of your second year. The application will be available in October. If you are accepted, you're accepted based on the condition that you're going to complete the rest of the required courses in the winter semester. So your first work term could be in the spring of your second year. Sorry, I hope that was clear. Too many programs were floating around in my head at that time. What we're looking for admission to co-op is that you've done all your first year courses and that you are registered for genetics and ecology. You need to have at least a 65 average across the required biology courses up to that point, and an overall average of 60 for all the courses that you've done to date. It's competitive entry and there is an interview process. As far as the application, you also have to write an essay as to why you are interested in the program and how you think it will be beneficial to you. We usually accept no more than 6 to 8 students in any given academic year. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about it, there's lots of information on the department website, as well as direct contact information for our co-op officers. What is the difference between MUSEP and Iswep? Again, I'm not 100%, I don't work for career development, so forgive me if I don't get every little aspect of this, but the main difference is that the Isweps are essentially MUSEPs, but they're just for international students. That's right, Carter?
That's right, yeah.
That's right, okay. So that way, it's just 2 different pools that you can apply for. Does it matter if we take a Grenfell campus course this semester, even though we're a St. John's campus student? It does not matter. I actually have a number of students who are technically on the Grenfell campus, but they're taking a number of biology courses that we offer on the St. John's campus. Where everybody's remote, it doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure you're taking the right courses for you. And you're doing them in the right order. So if there's any concern, you should check with me, or if it's not a biology course, with the academic advisor for that unit, just to make sure that that course is going to fit into your schedule the right way, because Grenfell tends to offer certain courses on the opposite schedule that the St. John's campus does. If you're doing a joint degree, for which major do you choose the co-op? Co-op isn't available for joint degrees, and that's because that will be a lot to take on. The joint degrees tend to be very course heavy and involved in and of themselves, and they have very little room to take on work placements because of the number of required courses and the fact that those courses typically are only offered in fall and winter semesters. So if you're really interested in a joint area study and co-op, I might recommend that you consider doing a major in one subject, a minor in the other, and then pursuing co-op. That way you're getting a little bit of what the experience would be like. But yeah, so unfortunately can't do co-op right now in a joint program. Can international, oh, thank you, Megan. Yeah, That's perfect. It's really best to speak to career development about questions regarding to MUSEP Iswep. Other than taking a number of them when I was an undergraduate, I'm not an expert. Some examples of MUSEP job offerings. Does it? Um, so the MUSEPs are just for the MUN campus, and they are working. Well, I should say for them on campus, but including the Ocean Science Center and the Botanical Gardens, so those centers that are adjacent to them on campus. It's really just doing work with individual faculty members. You could be helping create media for some of their experiments. You could be just doing general laboratory prep. It differs from faculty to faculty, but there will be a pretty thorough description in their posting about what they are expecting you to do as their MUSEP student. Even if it doesn't sound like the ideal placement for you, the experience is really good. And once you get one MUSEP under your belt, it's easier to get more, not only more MUSEPs, but MUSEPs that might be a little bit more geared towards your particular area of interest. So what does it mean? Okay, so there's a question about that you can only apply for the honors after your second year of study, and can you still finish all of your courses in the remaining 2 years? So you can. I have created templates for students to follow, but I work one-on-one with students as well. Once you are admitted to the honors program, I talk with you and say, okay, this is how many biology courses you have left. This is when you'd like to do your thesis, part A and part B. This is your expected graduation date. There's always the option to take additional biology courses if we're able to offer field courses. So let's just say due to personal reasons, you weren't able to take a full suite of courses in a particular semester after getting admitted to honors. There's still ways that we can make that up. So you absolutely can be accepted to the honors program at the end of your second year and still finish the complete program within 4 years. Carter, you're muted.
Sorry. Are there any last questions? Thank you. We're going to wrap up at 1:45 Newfoundland time, or quarter after. I think that looks like all the questions that are coming in.
Okay.
I think we covered like a broad range of questions. So that's really good. Thank you, Jody, for coming out and answering those questions and giving that presentation on biology and what they offer.
And thank you for organizing this for all of our first year students.
You're welcome. Somebody says, can I contact you, Jody, for academic advice on courses?
Yes, by all means. I'm currently actually away from my home office, but I will be responding to every inquiry I've received when I come back on the 8th of September. But if it's an emergency and you need advice immediately, please still email me and just mark that it's urgent in the subject line, and I will get back to you at some point today.
Yes, Jody's taking time out of her vacation for this, and we're very grateful.
Happy to do it.
But so I think that's all. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And our next session is just in 20 minutes with math and stats. If you have any questions there about the MPP or anything like that. Thank you so much. See you later.
Thanks for attending.